25 worst first dates witnessed by staff, according to Reddit. Number 25. So I don't know if it was a first date, but hopefully it was the last. Last week, I had a couple come in, and the man, thugged out and in his late 20s, began cussing about everything on the menu.
Yo, bitch, why'd you pick this shitty-ass place? All this shit on this menu is fucking expensive as fuck.
Mid-price lunch place, 90% local regulars of the senior variety for the most part. So dude continues to cuss out and berate his girl, and she doesn't say anything. I come over and take their order, and he refuses to get anything. She gets some chicken strips, and then he starts in on me about how this is a snobby-ass old white folk place. Okay. And at this point, the regulars are noticing, and one went to the owner to let him know what was going on. And he came out, hands on his hips, and said, "You have two choices." I'm guessing he means two choices, because he didn't leave the W inside that T-O. Well, either stop with the profanity and act civilized, or leave my establishment. The man said, "I don't gotta do shit, yo." Meanwhile, the girl is now quietly eating her chicken, not saying a word. Owner goes and calls the cops because now the guy is getting louder and ruder to his poor date. Why is she dealing with this? Why not get up and go? When the dude sees the cops roll up, he takes off, leaving the girl sitting at the table, and the officers intercept him in the parking lot, and at the same time, they go and question the girl, asking if he's ever hit her and if she feels safe, etc., etc. Man, I felt so bad for her. A response here says that's called the trap. Don't get loud in public. I would have to agree with this. It was probably a trap for a dumb motherfucker. I don't think this was a first date at all. And given the context clues, the fact that this lady didn't just get up and leave at any point in the midst of this guy being a complete asshole. Yo, bitch, why'd you pick this shitty place? And he's berating her. He's like getting into her for no fucking reason. She's sitting there quietly eating her meal. There's nothing to discuss here. Why even extend the courtesy of remaining there for the entire meal if this is your first date, which I do not think, given the context, it is. I think that maybe they were together and like him treating her like this was the norm, and this was her subtle way of getting them both out in public, displaying his capacity for bullshit and stupidity to like people in public, and then getting the police called without her having to physically be the one to call the police. This poor girl. And I hope he didn't hit her, and I hope that she did feel safe, because this is a dumbass right here. This is a dumbass. So what I think this was is, like this person said, a trap. I think it was a setup. I think the girl knew that if she took this idiot out to a public place, that he wouldn't be able to keep the stupidity in his pants, and that he made a big enough scene to where the police were called, and she technically didn't need to be the one to call the police. So, if he tries to get, angry with her and all this bullshit, it wasn't her fault, it was his. It was your fault, homie. So hopefully this girl has found her way away from this guy. Sorry to get all analytical, but sometimes you gotta comprehend some shit that you're reading, guys. Even if the person writing it didn't appear to be able to comprehend it in such a capacity. Because, hey guys, on this Valentine's Day, sometimes you're just gonna want to prefer not to even deal with people at all. And even if you do decide to deal with people, if you ever become uncomfortable, you know what I mean? There's always a way out. So utilize those ways out, even if you want to be discreet about it. Just like this woman chose to be, I guess, discreet in a way about calling the police. So number 24. I have seen everything from crying to ketchup ramekins being thrown. The only obvious first date I ever noticed is as follows. Above average looking guy sits down and says he's waiting on his blind date to show up, and I tell him I'll keep my fingers crossed. The girl shows up half an hour late, and she is not attractive. She was probably 120 pounds heavier than what he was looking for, and her face. I got an oh well look from the guy when she was in the bathroom. He didn't say anything to me. Just had his dinner, and every time I refilled the glass, there was a conversation with both people smiling. At the end of the meal, he paid the whole tab and tipped well. After they said their goodbye, I caught up with the guy. I had finished all my tables and wanted to know if he was seriously okay with being set up with someone so obviously not in his dating demographic. So I asked how his meal and the date was, then asked if there was going to be a second date. He laughed and said not likely. I told him that's what I thought, but they seemed to be having a good time. He told me that girl probably hasn't been on 3 dates where the guy actually played and was genuinely nice. Wow. Why wouldn't I be a gentleman? My friends are dicks, but she did nothing wrong and deserves to be treated like a beauty every now and then. It's true. You're a wonderful guy. Every girl deserves to be treated like a beauty, even if they look like whales that need to be thrown back into the water. That's how I look, though, so not the end of the world. Poor unattractive girls. Y'all got it the worst of all. I don't know, for some reason in society it's just fine for us to be big blobby Jabba the Hutts, but you girls, come on now, girl, you can't just be flurpa-lurping all over the ooka nika droba ho ho ho. Number 23. Late to the party here, but I was bartending in New York and watched this couple that had met on Tinder have their first date sitting at my bar. The girl was a complete maniac, kept bringing up the fact that the dude she was with could be a psychopath and could murder her, and he had given no indication of this, and went on the Tinder while he was sitting beside her at the bar. Kept telling her he was lucky that she agreed to meet him at all, and she didn't think he'd be this boring. She ordered about 5 to 6 LITs and several shots. He literally just had 2 beers. She made him pay for everything. My favorite part of this shit show was that he excused himself to go to the bathroom and left through the fire escape. Completely brilliant. To be clear, there was only one official entrance and exit. This dude escaped out the back and she went searching for him. Straight up thought he had disapparated out of the bar. Amazing. Somebody, yeah, he wrote disapparated. I guess Harry Potter's just a part of us now, guys. I guess it's just a part of us. Number 22. I was working in a small restaurant with 2 floors. A woman and a man came in and I had a table for them upstairs. It looked like they had a first date because they were asking those getting to know each other questions, and after ordering food, the woman had to go to the toilet, which is downstairs. As she walked to the stairs, the food arrived. She walked down, tripped and fell all the way down, knocking her head on the ground. 2 colleagues immediately rushed over to see how she was doing. She was unconscious and bleeding from her head, so they called an ambulance. You fucking klutz. Jesus, woman, I hope you're okay. I went to the man while he already started eating and told him his partner didn't know how to call her, fell down the stairs, and that she was unconscious and that the ambulance was on its way. He walked to the stairs, looked down, and walked back to his table to finish his food. Later, the ambulance arrived, and I asked him if he wanted to go with them to the hospital, and he said no, while finishing her food as well. Finishing her food as well. What? Is this real? Is this real? I need to know. It was so awkward, he just sat there for another 45 minutes eating, drinking, paid the bill, and left. I still don't know what kind of relationship they had and whether the woman is okay. He has no answers. This guy has no answers. I love it. I love it. Now, where do we start, guys? Let's say the Kyle Dickish thing first. Let's let the douchebag out of the bag here. Guys, if you ever go on a date and the girl injures herself in a capacity where she got to go to the hospital, depending on how attractive she is, by all means, you should accompany her to the hospital, okay? Because, she wakes up and you're there. It may be awkward, but at the same time, the fact that you were willing to stay by her side and see that she was well through to completion is, a great thing to do. Even if you maybe end up meeting the parents if they live close, because, they may come to see, which could be awkward. But again, it's a win-win situation because if she comes to you and it's not awkward and she likes that you were there and waiting for her to make sure she was okay, then you're getting it in, baby. You know what I'm talking about? But Also, maybe she messes up her head in a way where she don't think so straight. I'm kidding, that's not funny, right? But, you know, if she's not thinking too great in the head, then hey, you got yourself a do what you want to do when you want to do it, girl. I'm kidding. If you're triggered, and yes, I understand it's not the type of joke that should be made, but it puts a smile on my face, the idea of pissing off people who would go, that is not funny, Kyle. Let me know in the comment section. Did that trigger you? Did what I just, somebody said, did you just witness an assassination? Why is it an assassination? Oh, what, like he staged it? Like the guy that was eating his dinner made it so that she tripped somehow? And the guy goes back and finishes his dinner, and like the James Bond music is playing. You guys are crazy. Like I think I'm imaginative, but you get on Reddit sometimes and people are just like, oh my god, yeah. Number 21. I had an obvious first date where the lady was grilling the guy on how much money he makes, and he didn't really want to answer. It was awkward serving steak and salad during an interrogation. This chick crazy. Some of these women are crazy. And the OP, the person who posted this question, goes, why would someone do that? Somebody said, I can't figure out exactly why they did it. I didn't say she a gold digger. Man, number 20. I work in an Italian restaurant. A few years ago, I waited on a guy and a girl who met for the first time upon arriving at the restaurant. There were awkward pleasantries exchanged at the door, and then they were seated. When I was taking their order, the guy asked if we had soup, because he had mouth surgery a few days prior and chewing food was still a little rough. We don't have no damn soup. So I explained that the softest food on the menu was gnocchi. He ordered the house gnocchi and proceeded to cut every tiny dumpling into 4 or more pieces and slowly chewed each piece. He ate that entire dish over a 3-hour period, and the girl stuck it out for the whole thing. She looked miserable, and I'm pretty sure they never saw each other again. But the poor guy just had mouth surgery. Somebody said, pretty stupid of him not to mention he had mouth surgery before. That's kind of inconvenient for both of them. Somebody says, agreed. I met a dude at Buffalo Wild Wings. I suggested it because I know that they have those computer trivia things, and I thought it would be some fun competition. Jude shows up and turns out he's a vegetarian. Check, please. Come on now. What I don't get is where the inconvenience comes in. I mean, yeah, it's weird if you're not eating food while you invite somebody out to go, like, you know, to a restaurant. But it seemed like he could eat. It was just very slow. Or I guess like his mouth is occupied. This is so weird. It's so weird. People are so weird. Why do you even want to mix yourself up with fucking people? Do you know what I mean? Here's the bottom line, and I've said it a billion times, and it's why I'll always be alone. Meeting somebody that I link up with that hates people just as much as me would be borderline impossible, because wherever they are right now is probably buried in their room so hard that they'll never see the light of day. So think about that. The person that I would be most compatible or link up with would probably never ever reach outside the confines of their own fucking room, because fuck people. They're all disgusting, weird, and gross, and stupid, and silly, and awkward, and like have no idea how to conduct themselves. Like, if you had any forethought of how this was going to go down, you have mouth surgery, okay? So what, were you just going to sit there and stare at them and talk to them while they eat? Is that normal? Is that cool, nigga? Yo, bitch ass. Number 19. Man and woman cozy in a booth. Different woman storms in through the front door, literally dragging 2 kids behind her, right past the hostess station to stand defiantly in front of the couple and proceeds to bitch. That dude was nailed. Oh my God, you got a wife and kids. You got a wife and kids. Oh, damn. Somebody said, oh man, those kids though. I couldn't imagine the terror they had to sit through for the rest of the night. Somebody said, been there, done that. I was 6 and my mom did the same exact thing. The whole ride there, she kept saying, you're going to help mommy catch a lying, cheating bastard that should have died when he was a teenager before we met. That was a restless night for me. She beat the fuck out of him and then he left and never came back. I was mad at my dad for a few years. Then when I was 11 to 12, he started to explain things to me, and now I understand dad was the good guy and mom was the crazy psycho bitch. Well, as long as he was there in your life for a certain, in some capacity, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't have a father who did that for them. And I look at the camera. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And I look at the camera. You see what I'm saying? Y'all see what I'm saying? So, a response reads, same experience here. When I was 12, my mom told me that my dad cheated on her and had a kid with the other woman. She showed me pictures of the kid and everything. It was fucked up. A couple of years later, I found out how crazy my mom was and how she manipulated all of the kids, taking her side and shunning my dad. I'm 29 now, and my dad and I are BFFs. Meanwhile, my mom prevented everyone from her side, including my siblings, from coming to my wedding. She said that she said she would take pictures, do the flowers, bring the cake, and she never showed up. So the morning of my wedding, we had no cake, no flowers, no photographers. I'm freaking out. My awesome family-in-law band together and get their cousin, who shoots for National Geographic, to come over and take pictures. All of their neighbors cut and arranged flowers from their yards for the tables inside. And my awesome dad drives 2 hours to pick up a cake he miraculously found at a bakery. It all worked out perfectly. I'm so grateful for a new family, and you know what? I'm happier without the family that always lets me down. Sometimes love comes around. Can't sing too much, because if it's pitch accurate, YouTube will strike it.
Wait a minute, I know that song.
Fucking YouTube. Number 18. I've seen 3 popular mentions of Applebees so far. Survey says Applebees might not be the best place for a date. Somebody else says, and let this be the real number 18 since people are just making comments about the fucking question now. My ex took me to Applebees on our first date. Our waitress was visibly miserable and told us all about her horrible ex-husband who still lives with his mom. Then she told us if she had a time machine, she would go back in time and abort her children. Also, the food was awful. I do not recommend. Nigga, if you live in Miami and you're hot, I'm just kidding, you don't need to be hot. Okay? Come with me to Applebee's, because all I do are hear these hilarious stories about fucking Applebee's, and I want to be there. I want to clear my phone of as much space as I can make on it. I want to take my camera phone and I want to go to Applebee's. It can't be this crazy. Applebee's seems like the reality TV show we've all been waiting for. That ain't basic and corny as hell. Somebody else responds. I'll always remember a Reddit comment I saw a while back that perfectly summed it up for me. It said something along the lines of Applebee's is for people who are lazy, that are so lazy that they pay other people to microwave their food for them. Oh my God, the food can't be that bad at Applebee's. Oh no, the food cannot be that bad at Applebee's. Somebody else responds, that's because those bitches were doing it wrong. Applebee's has a 2-to-1 drink special and half off appetizers happy hour. That's how you have an awesome first date. I just get boozed up and split some appetizers. Oh. Okay. But then who's driving home? You see what I'm saying? I'm not supposed to be thinking about that kind of shit, right? But I'm a grown-ass man with a mind that thinks properly. You go out on a date with another girl. She getting boozed up or you getting boozed up, or both of y'all getting boozed up? Because come on now. Hey. Y'all need to be thinking about other people. The bottom line is, in half of these corny ass accidents, the person who is drunk as fuck is going to come out of this shit scot-free. You know what I mean? It could be the type of 12-car pileup that just makes all of the cars Fold like a piece of paper, just a crumpled up piece of paper. And who gonna step out of that like Lazarus stepping out of the tomb when Jesus said, "Come forth"? And he just gonna step out like, "Light of the world, all this alcohol makes me invulnerable." Sorry. Fuck me, man. Okay, so where are we going? We're going to 17 now. We're going to number 17. Number 17. I used to work a little shitty diner place. All right. That's where he worked at. Definitely not the type of place to bring a first date. There was this guy who'd come in every Friday with a different girl. Well, he's doing it. He's setting that up. He was a very good-looking dude and was always super polite and very nice to me. Sorry. Forgive me. But he was super awkward. The girls would look kind of skeptical as they walked in, probably because of the crappy dinner scene. The crappy diner scene. Trust me, if the guy was really good looking, the girl didn't fucking matter where you took him. Let's be real. So this guy was probably more of like a 7 on a sliding scale, because if he was anywhere near like a 9 or a 10 or even an 8, the girls would let him take him to fucking Burger King. Girls don't care. They're superficial as hell. It's true. Every week, about halfway through the meal, like clockwork, the girls would develop these "get me the fuck out of here" faces. That's when I would bring the check. They always boxed up their food and left right away. I had the chance to talk to one of them while he was in the restroom. Apparently he wasn't harmful. There was just something off about him that the girls didn't like. He's persistent. Oh, his persistence is on point though, because the person wrote he's persistence is on point. He's persistence? Are you the fucking serial killer that these girls are trying to get away from? Are you telling a story about yourself? Just kidding, that's rude. Somebody said I would love to know what that was. Serial killer eyes. It's probably not even the eyes, dude. Some people, when they speak, you could tell something ain't... Sorry, they're probably working that voodoo on me with their dolls right now. Listen to me. Some people, when they speak, you can tell they ain't right. You can tell that something's going on. Something's not right. You can tell what they get up to is weird. You can tell that these are probably the people that are flinging around cats or dogs in their backyard, just inflicting that pain on animals and shit. You can tell that there's something wrong with some of these people when you talk to them. And again, you can't tell that just looking at some people. Some of the hottest people that you... Go watch White Christmas and Black Mirror. You know what I mean? You don't know what the hell people got going on. You don't know. Number 16, I worked at Applebees, nigga. We need to just get an Applebees list up in this bitch. We need an Applebees list. Maybe I'll do some research. Maybe you can do the research. Listener, go find me some Applebees stories, and I'll read all of them for hours. Just for you. We can make it a series, an ongoing series. Applebees stories. Number 16, I worked at an Applebees. This woman was the worst woman I've ever waited on. She was needy and slurped down her iced tea like there was a worldwide shortage. He was silent. He didn't talk once except to order his quesadilla burger. Quesadilla burger. Sorry, I apologize. Forgive me. And she just kept going and going, prattling on. And she was mean too, talking down about how people were losers to be servers and how much better it was to work in a shop. At the end, he went to the bathroom and just never came back. He apparently jetted out of the side door where the to-go girls worked and gave them a 20 to give me. Worst woman was just sitting there waiting for him to come back. I stood there at the server station just waiting for her to realize he wasn't coming back. So after 10 minutes, she just started crying. Pushes her chair over and flounced out. I didn't get a tip, but it made my night. Ooh, what a fat bitch. What a fat bitch. What a fat bitch. What a fat bitch. Fat bitch. Ooh, you fat bitch. You're such a fat bitch. Such a fat bitch. Fat Bitch was filmed before a live studio on Kyle. Shut up. This isn't funny to anybody. It's why you're alone on Valentine's Day. Just the way I like it. Fat bitch. Number 15. Ooh, he made a comment about her, about how he's not Jewy. What? he made a comment to her about how he's not Jewy. Oh, the guy says to the girl, "I'm not Jewy," so she could order whatever she wanted. Ooh, she was Jewish. Oh shit. Spent the rest of the evening in silence. And he went on about how his ex-girlfriend was anorexic and so annoying about food. He was happy to be on a date with a woman who could eat like a normal person. So weird. Poor girl. That's heartbreaking. Somebody said my soul, or OP said my soul hurts. Oh my god. She was Jewish. Number 14. Not a first date story, but pretty funny. On my boyfriend and my second anniversary, we went to a small dinner at a nice place. Nothing fancy, but not Applebees. I want that Applebees story. My boyfriend is on his phone trying to find an old picture of our first date. He dug through his phone for like 20 minutes while I sat there and talked to him, when all of a sudden 2 girls drop a note on our table and it said, "It's a first date, talk to each other," and some other crap like that. Apparently they thought our first date was awkward and uncomfortable. Now every time he gets on his phone, even though it's almost 2 years later, I think of date night. That's cute. Somebody says that reminds me of this that just recently came up on the internet. And it failed to load. Much like my life. It failed to load. Number 13. I work at country club. Man, that just drained me. I work at a country club that is up to its ears in old money that uses said old money to make more new money. The membership fees cost more than a year at my university. To say money is not an issue there would be an understatement. Anyways, I was serving a young couple, and the power imbalance was phenomenal. She was the daughter of one of the board members, and the entire staff knew her. Her father's club account was major money, and the gentleman, well, he wasn't a member, and certainly looked like he was just the average broke college student. He was wearing plain but nice clothes, and she was dressed to the nines in fashion. The date seemed to go smoothly enough. Nothing out of the ordinary until she gets up and leaves the table before I brought out the bill. I bring the bill to the counter, knowing it was well over $300 worth of food and drinks, all things she insisted on ordering: 2 bottles of top shelf wine, neither finished. Wow. 2 steaks when he asked for chicken, and she insisted on him eating steak like a man. And he solemnly goes to pull out his wallet and starts tearing up, apologizing that he won't be able to tip. I mean, I've never had a customer cry over not being able to tip. And he further explained he was a server too, and that she didn't know he wasn't rich, and that she left because he told her about his scholarship. I was flabbergasted, and kindly reminded him that at this country club, we do not take credit cards nor cash, we only charge to accounts, and so her father got a hefty bill. Rest assured, he signed a handsome tip to me in her name. Nice. Club policy is that the registered guests may sign for their host member. Given that the members have invited them, it was entirely satisfying. Last I heard, her father cut her off. I can't help but smile all the life lessons she is learning, like working to go on dates. A story with a happy ending, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for my difficult reading towards the end, so hopefully you understood that it was a girl who, was essentially the daughter of a rich man, so she's living that rich life. She went out with a guy on a dinner date, and then she ended up leaving when the guy told her that he got into the college on a scholarship or whatever, like a bitch. So, after leaving what she thought the bill would be, the place didn't actually charge credit cards or take cash. They only charge accounts. So they were able to charge the account of the daughter's daddy. You know what time it is. And then the guy was able to sign a tip for the little wait dude. Somebody else responds, "Is this the right time to have a big old Reddit justice boner?" And somebody else said, "I believe it is." So let's go ahead and get to number 12 and pretend that I'm not broken up about the loneliness of Valentine's Day alone. No titties for me. Oh, that's a good banner. SENDNUDES. It's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. I love you all. Number 12, I own a bakery. I see a lot of shitty first coffee dates and shitty people in general, but there's one that will always be the worst for me. This happened at my bakery maybe 6 months into our first year. Two boys come in, chatting normally, clearly on their first date. They're both young, maybe 15 at most, and adorably nervous. They order at the counter and go find a table. Sitting close, one of them starts holding the other's hand, playing with his fingers, just being cute. All of a sudden, this woman comes up and starts berating one of the boys. It was his mother. She had shown up because she wanted to meet the girl because her son was being cagey about who it was. I assume he mentioned where they would be going because she wouldn't let him out if she didn't know. She starts screaming and crying about how her son could do this to her family. Doesn't he know she wants grandkids? His father would be so ashamed if he was still alive. Oh my God, doesn't his father's memory mean anything? She then tells him that if he keeps up with this, don't bother coming home, and then marches out of the shop. The poor boy is just weeping while his not even really boyfriend is trying to comfort him, completely bewildered with what happened. I don't think I've gone from heartfelt smile to sour-faced disgust so quickly after reading this, says a responder. Some people are just horrible. Well, yeah, people are horrible. You ice that cake with being a parent, and they'll show you the true depths of disgusting misery. Number 11. When I was in high school, my college-age sister took me to a concert. I'm sorry, man. Number 11. When I was in high school, my college-age sister took me to a concert. Is that better, ma'am? While we were waiting for the show to start, we noticed a guy and a girl in front of us who were clearly on a first date. Their conversation was so awkward that it literally devolved into talking about the weather. Brutal. Because we were terrible people, my sister and I decided to make fun of the couple by mimicking their embarrassing conversation. After a few minutes of our antics, the guy half turned his head toward us with a look of pure desperation on his face, as if to say, "For the love of God, please don't make this nightmare worse than it already is. I'm begging you." We stopped. A few weeks later, my sister came home from a party and told me, "Remember the guy we had made fun of at the concert? I just met him. We're going on a date." They are now married with 4 children. What the fuck? Oh, wow. And then OP is like, I love this story. Oh my God. That was the craziest thing in the world. What the hell? Number 10, man. Reddit is crazy. Where do you get these stories? Number 10, not a waiter, but my first date with a girl my brother's girlfriend set me up with might count. The waiter was awesome. Brother's girlfriend set me up on a blind date with her friend who is, in her words, totally into heavy guys. Oh God. I don't know. I'm a big man, right? But I don't want a girl who's into heavy guys, you know? Ugh. So I go to pick her up, and my alarms go off. While she's not a 9 out of 10, she is definitely what most would consider out of my league. I try to talk to her on the ride. At most, I get non-committal grunts or words in response. We get to the place to eat, a steakhouse that's noted in my area for being nice, but not super expensive, and get our table. We order our food. While waiting, I try to talk to her. Simple things. Is she from around here? Does she have any hobbies, etc.? She just taps on her phone and gives me small 2-word answers for the most part. Ugh. Food shows up, she packs up her plate and heads to a whole other table. Tells me her friends showed up. I apparently was not invited. Meanwhile, she's sitting at the other table with a good bit of expensive food. I blink for a bit, then call the waiter over and explain to him what's up. I want separate checks. He agrees. I go ahead and pay for my food. Hold on. I'm really sorry, I sneezed. I go ahead and pay for my food. She begins ordering drinks, not just for her, but for all of her friends. I just finish what I can of my food. About an hour later, she comes back and says she's ready to go. I wave the waiter down and tell him she's ready to go. He brings her a check, well over $100. She just smiles and looks at me and pushes it towards me, explaining I was paying. I push it back and tell her I'm out. Get up, smile at her, and said I've had a lovely time tonight. I hope you have good luck in paying your tab and finding a ride home that doesn't involve a police cruiser. The brother's girlfriend began blowing up my phone an hour later about how I could do that to her friend. I shut her down real fast. So whoever that waiter was, you're the man. Keep the $20 tip. This thread really gives me trouble understanding people. What the hell, man? You did good though. That waiter did good, bro. He's the real hero. He's the real MVP. That waiter though. Justice boner. Fuck bitches. What a bunch of dirty sluts. Seriously, you do this type of shit to people? Are you a female listening to this video right now? You fucked over some guy on a date? I want to hear your story. Write it in the comment section. Write it in the comment section. If you're on this flippily floppily bullshit ass shit, you people are crazy. You people are crazy. Number 9, I'm a waitress at a mid-range priced bar and grill. Just yesterday, a younger couple came in, and as I greet them, I ask if they want anything besides water. The conversation is as follows. Girl, may I have a Coke or a Pepsi? Boy, good, Aaron, I'm paying. Girl, water will be fine, actually. Oh no, he said, God, Aaron, I'm paying. Oh. My heart immediately sank because you bet your ass he tipped less than 10% too. Oh boy. Why go out if y'all ain't got the money to spend? Why go out? There's a fast food joint on every corner. Why go out? Why go out? Oh my god. Alright, a response here reads, one time I went to a similar sounding restaurant and the guy ordered us both chicken tenders, literally off the kids' menu. I was a little annoyed because I was really looking forward to the salmon. I had even mentioned it to him on the way to the restaurant, but I thought maybe he's on a budget and he really wants to pay. So I just shrugged it off, but then we split the check. It just seemed like needlessly controlling and kind of patronizing. Yes, milady, we'll have the tendies. And I will have 2 orders of the tendies. Somebody else says, I will have the cheapest entree on the menu, and the lady will have another entree of equal or lesser value, and then hands over coupon. I fucking love this. I will have 2 orders of the tendies. Number 8. Boy. once witnessed a date where the dude talked about how special he was and how his mind wasn't like other people's for the entire day. I am very smart over here. The girl was politely nodding along, and every time she tried to get a word in, he'd cut her off. Absolutely brutal. What the fuck? Somebody said, I'm sure he thought the date was wonderful too. What the fuck? She refused to have sex with me. What a slut. Okay. Number 7 here, okay? Number 7. Olive Garden around 2014 from like 7:30 to close on a weekend. Middle-aged man of sub-average attractiveness was sitting alone at a table with a glass of water, insisting that his date would be just a few minutes. There's traffic. At around 9:15, the manager had to come out and let him know that the restaurant would close at 10, and if he'd like to place a food order, he should probably do it now. He ordered a bruschetta appetizer and said again that his date was on her way and that they'd order when she got there. 9:45. This beautiful woman walks in and awkwardly stands by his table. I couldn't hear the conversation they had, but the man asked for a box for the appetizer and they wound up leaving together without even sitting down. What? I wasn't expecting that. Somebody said, was it though? My money is on an escort. Somebody else responds with a story here, and it's wildly upvoted compared to the other ones. When I was a waitress, my favorite couple was an escort and her regular John. He looked like George Costanza, short, fat, bald, no style, super shy, though, and couldn't make eye contact with me. She was a breathing Barbie doll, sweet as pie, super charming. She tipped really well, it ain't her money, and signed her name with little hearts. After a few years of them coming in, every few months, I noticed that this dude looks different, like better somehow, stronger, better posture, less flabby looking. So I asked him, hey man, you're looking really good. Did you change something? He is too shy to really answer and mumbles something about losing some weight. I'm like, no, you're carrying yourself differently. Your whole presence is different. So Barbie escort presses him with a cheerful, go on, tell her. And he confesses that he's taken up weightlifting and cycling recently and was thinking about doing a triathlon. I like to think she was an escort life coach. This is cute. I thought it was just going to be like a coming out with this beautiful lady is giving me confidence enough to change who I am. Number 6, I was working at a Mexican restaurant at the time. I was waiting on a couple, and I could tell it was a first date by the questions I heard them asking each other. Anyway, towards the end of their meal, there was this Hispanic girl sweeping next to their table, and the woman looks at her, holds out the remains of her plate, and says, would you like to take this home to feed your kids? Damn! I stood there in complete shock. This woman spoke no English, but she could tell this random woman was completely degrading her. The sad thing is, she seemed like she really thought she was doing a good deed. Her date looked so embarrassed. Somebody responds, wow, what the fuck, that's all I can say. And then the OP's like, ouch, my heart. Total eclipse, man. Some people are just, you know, they don't know when some of that racism is alive in a lot of people that you know right now. But at least they understand that it's not supposed to come out all the time, you know. But, well, I guess she didn't know. She didn't get the memo. I guess she didn't know. Number 5, ladies and gentlemen, number 5. It was one of my first dates where the waiter definitely could sense the awkwardness. I was a junior in high school. I had been flirting with a senior for the first couple of months and asked her out the day I got my license. I pick her up from her house, And within 1 minute of being in the car, she got a phone call. One of her best friends died of a brain aneurysm earlier that day. I told her that we could delay the date and offered to take her home, but she declined and insisted we carry on. We get to the restaurant and she is crying at the table. I didn't say any words to her other than "Are you okay?" the whole date, because she was either texting her group of friends or couldn't make out the words due to being so hysterical. The waiter kept coming and sensed how awkward I was feeling. Out of all of the restaurant experiences, I have never received my entree and check so fast. The waiter was a true bro.
No, we have to go.
Why? Your best friend just died of a brain explosion, and you trying to go to eat their food, trying to ruin this man's day. I'm kidding. Am I? Come on, man. Guys, what are you thinking? You can't do this stuff. What are you thinking? Number 4, served a couple a few months ago. Every time I walked over, he would always be the one talking, and she wouldn't be sitting there not having a good time. And she would just be sitting there not having a good time. Okay. At the end, I asked if it was one bill or separate, and she immediately piped up separate. I go and take his payment, and as I hand over the debit machine to the girl, I see the guy take his phone out and start swiping through Tinder. Ooh. Okay. Number 3. People can be so cruel. People can be so cruel, but you know, how do you not know that you're the problem? That's what blows my mind. I feel like that's what makes Asperger's something that like 9 out of 10 people have. It's just on different sliders. Because how do they not know they're the problem? Number 3, I was a waiter at a first job. It was an attractive young woman and an average-looking man. First off, these people were 30, and I have no clue why they decided to go to Applebees for dinner. Yes, baby. Thank you, God. The guy was wearing plaid sleep pants and an oversized red zip-up Columbia. Sleep pants? Like pajama pants. The woman was dressed more nicely, but it was still casual. All goes well until it comes time for the entrees. Well, I feel like I've read this before. The guy orders a fuck ton of ribs, a few full racks, and refuses the girl her original order of a house sirloin, which was only about $6, less than a fifth of his order. The man orders a $4 salad and water for her. What the fuck? The woman stops talking completely while the man talks about some crazy ass party he went to. The man guzzles a few strawberry quencher iced teas and says, "See you Friday, bitch," and leaves her with the bill. She said the guy seemed nice when they talked on Tinder, but was very uncomfortable with him in real life. And afraid to say something, a coworker and I paid for her meal, and later she and the same coworker started dating, and they are engaged now. Oh my God! What a wonderful story. They're engaged now? What the fuck? It just goes to show you, girls, if you girls are hot enough, people will jump on that shit. You know what I'm talking about? People will jump on that shit. They will look for that opening. This guy that is engaged to this girl was probably so happy that she met with this fat idiot, with this fucking moron of a man. And that he made such a fool of himself that he could just swoop in and be like, you know, you deserve way better than that. Why would you ever put up with that girl? Girl, you are the light of my life. Girl, diamond in the rough. Girl, fucking ridiculous. Number 2, I work at a fairly nice Italian restaurant where we do a lot of business. One night, a man who I was not even serving came up to me while I was punching an order into the computer and hands me a $20 bill and a napkin with a phone number on it. He proceeds to tell me, "I am on the worst date of my life. This woman is horrendous and I have to get out of here. Take this $20 bill, please go into the nearest phone and call me and tell me that I have to get home right away. I don't care what excuse you make up, I just gotta get the hell out of here." Initially, I thought he was kidding, until 2 minutes later, the guy who was serving him came up to me to tell me how wicked this woman was, and how he could tell the guy didn't want to be there. I promptly called the guy as soon as I had a free minute, one of my shining achievements as a server. A true bro, says the comments. We've finally reached number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Something tells me this won't be as long a list as I wanted it to be. What the fuck else you want from me? Oh, Jesus Christ, this guy's like making up for it with his number 1 comment. Number 1. Okay, so I have been a bartender and a waiter over the years, and I've witnessed a couple of really sad ones, a couple crazy ones, and one that was just brutal. This one was the best of them all, I thought. Good looking dude, fit, clean shaven, kinda looked like Jim Cantori. Don't know who the fuck that is, from the Weather Channel, but younger. Excuse me, forgive me, please forgive me, I'm sorry. Sitting at the bar, going on about how he had a date with this girl that his best friend was crushing on hard, that his friend just refused to ask her out because she was into him instead. He was really getting into his story when she walks in and he clams up like someone just shocked him. She was by anyone's standards damn dead good looking and killing it in a little black dress and high heels. It was really that rip the record kind of moment. Anyway, she comes up and do the little kissy huggy greeting, and she orders a tequila shot with lime. He does one with her and they banter about getting that out of the way, move into a little more intense banter about the blue. This dude what the fuck? Go into a little more intense banter, and out of the blue the dude whistles at me, shocked honestly as the bar is a little empty. He whistles at me again while I am looking at him, trying to figure out if he really just whistled at me like a fucking dog. Yo man, more shots. Okay. Disappointed, as he really kind of seemed like a nice guy, I go to pour him a shot and let him know I am not a dog. He doesn't need to whistle to get a drink. Sure man, no worries. Just keep an eye out. We're going to get lit, yo. I retire to the sidebar real quick, and one of the other guys working that night starts to talk to him while the girl goes to the ladies' room. When she gets back, he whistles at the other bartender again and says, "Hey man, where are my shots? Pronto." This guy starts just hammering shots. Not crazy, but pretty damn quick. He is at least at 5. The girl only did 1 and is sitting there sipping at a wine. The dude we all now call Yo starts to get a bit sideways. Nothing big, just loud, laughing at his own jokes, talking over the girl every chance he gets. Then he announces that he has to piss on a rock and walks to the back. The girl looks mortified and sad. She is texting away like a madman. Then I hear him in the back raising some cane, and out he comes with a dude under his arm. They sit down and he starts talking to a different girl at the bar. He is not really piss drunk, but well on his way, and says something out loud to the other girl about gay people and walks outside. His friend follows quickly after, and the girl is left at the bar alone. 5 minutes later, the friend walks in, sits down, has a drink with the girl, and I hear him say that he put him in an Uber and sent him home. They walked to go to the place of the other dude had a reservation for at the time, and I honestly thought, hell yeah, good for the dude. About 30 minutes later, Yo Boy walks back in, sober as the day he is born, sits down and waves me over and apologizes for whistling at me. He's the ultimate wingman. He gives us $20 and buys us a shift drink for when we get off. I was off at this point and he sits down and have mine with him. He let me in on his game. He did it all for his friend. The ultimate wingman. The ultimate wingman. So guys, in case you don't know what the story is about, very quickly, initially in the story, we clarified the very important part that, he's gonna date this girl that his friend is really into, but refuses to But the friend refuses to ask her out because he believes that she is way more into him instead. So basically, he gets the girl on a date, makes an ass of himself, you know what I mean? Goes to the bathroom, comes out with the other friend under his arm, makes it seem like he's getting really, really drunk, and then, you know, he's whistling at bartenders, he's being an asshole, shit like this. Then he sends him home, and the friend, you know, this is the opening to talk to the woman. She got manipulated so hard that it's the end of the world, but she'll live with it. She'll live, you know what I mean? She will live. The true wingman. Holy shit. What a wingman. I'll never have anybody who loves me that much. Oh wow, I'm not even connected to the internet anymore. The internet doesn't love me anymore. What a world. So I guess I'll just sit here alone and, you know, think about my thoughts. That always goes well. Happy Valentine's Day.